everyone. This is Jackie Cooper with the GBA Talk Show and also Crypto Mom 2. And I want to welcome everyone to this episode. I have a very exciting guest that I will introduce in just a short second. For those of you that do not know about the GBA, it is a wonderful organization that you can visit at gbaglobal.org. And I'll also be showing their website in a quick second. They are a professional organization that hosts a variety of events throughout the year, and they have working groups. And they also have trainings such as the blockchain maturity model and other ways that you can educate yourself and you can network within the government and the blockchain space. So for those that are also not familiar with me and Crypto Mom 2, I'll just give a quick overview. I am an attorney and I actually am in the education space. And what has recently been launched and created is the Blockchain Legal Institute, because of the fact that I have found that there are many within the legal space that are definitely knowledgeable about blockchain and what's going on, but there are a lot of new lawyers who are also stepping into the space. And so the Blockchain Legal Institute is a centralized hub for the decentralized resources. And I'm excited to be sharing that with everyone today. So definitely check that out. I will be sharing at various times throughout our conversation information. And so we always have to do our disclaimers. These shows are not financial advice. They're not investment advice. They are educational. And so again, always do your own due diligence and research. But with that, we have a very special guest on, and he is distinguished in so many different areas. He's a prolific author and has so many degrees. Again, I'm not going to do him justice if I try to have the list of everything that he's done in his short life. But we're going to be talking about one of the projects that he is actually in charge of and launching. There's a special coin that that's coming out next week. So we're going to be talking about all that. Christopher, how are you doing today? Glad to have.
Excellent. Thanks for having me on today.
Yeah, so why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and explain a little bit how you're connected with GBA and your primary company, and a little bit more about the coin that we're going to be featuring and talking about today.
Excellent. Yes. My name is Dr. Chris Smithmyer. I am the CEO and one of the co-founders of Black Wallet Limited. We are a Florida company that is focusing on the stablecoin 2.0 ecosystem. We specifically work with the management of the new concept of smart burns. And we came to the GBA via their spring conference, which was amazing. And we were one of the sponsors there and got to meet a lot of great people in the space, because we are more focused on the crypto side of the blockchain. And there are a lot of people that work in blockchain without crypto. So a lot of people that are scared to get involved with blockchain because they're like, I don't understand that cryptocurrency stuff. GBA is a great way to get involved with that, because you don't have to be involved with crypto to be involved with the GBA. But whenever our project launches, we do hope that you get involved with crypto on that, because we think there's a lot to be found there for people, even if they're afraid of crypto.
So I appreciate you're talking about the last event. I know that I was there and it was really, really there was a lot of complicated topics that were introduced to the audience in not a simplified manner, which makes it inaccurate, but in a way that for those that are new to the blockchain or the space, you could definitely educate yourself and understand. And there was a lot of wonderful information. The information for the next conference in September is actually all about artificial intelligence. So it's the blockchain and the infrastructure and the rise of artificial intelligence. And that is actually happening in September. And you can go to the gbaglobal.org to join the event and to register. So I definitely want to mention that. Definitely go to gbaglobal.org and learn a lot more about artificial intelligence and how it can impact you and how you can integrate that with your business. So we're going to be talking a little bit about the coin and the launch, but I really think you're doing this in a very innovative way. Why don't you talk a little bit more about how you set up your company and how you decided to navigate the introduction of the coin? Because you're going towards institutional members first, but why don't you explain a little bit more?
Well, one of the things, whenever we got involved with cryptocurrency, which whenever I say we, it's me and my business partner, Ryan Ash, we started out by helping one of our friends who was starting a political coin. And when we were doing this, one of the things that he came to us, he had a great idea for a coin, but he didn't have a business to back it, like a business model to back it. And we started asking, how are you going to monetize it? How are you going to make sure people are protected? How are you going to make sure that all the pieces come together? And what we found was a lot of these crypto companies that we're dealing with, they have these amazing minds, these tech guys that are 100 years ahead of me technologically, but they weren't bringing the business pieces to back it up. And whenever you don't bring the business pieces to back it up, you're going to find that you run into trouble. And we've seen that over the last couple of years whenever the SEC is targeting crypto companies, with the exception of FTX, which they really didn't target at all. They like, oh, we busted this guy. We're going to let him talk to Congress and then let him off with parole. They didn't do what they needed to do because they're going after these they're going after Binance, they're going after Coinbase, they're going after Ripple for a missed dot on an I or a little tiny thing that, like, people that are in the legal world are like, why are they even doing that? This is something that should have been negotiated, not made a major court case. And we started talking about that, and we started talking about why that is so troublesome in the field. And we realized that these challenges were challenges that a lot of companies were going through. And as these companies went through them, we started learning from that. And one of the things we did was we said, we're going to build the company structure. So since 2021, we have been building out the company structure for Black Wallet, and that has allowed us to have the pieces in place to make sure that the company can move forward as we build, as opposed to building something and then going back and backfilling.
I
And we're
like
hoping,
I like what you just said though. You've been around for a number of years. And so again, the framework is there. And then from that, now you're it sort of is like having the core of the body and now the arms are coming, you know.
yeah, that is exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to build out from the center. And we really believe that this is going to prevent a lot of problems. And also, we want to say we are an American company. So we're going here, and a lot of these American companies have been targeted. And we're coming out here to say, hey, a successful crypto company can be built in the United States. I mean, we have Tether, who's some of their offices are here. We have Binance USA, we have Coinbase USA, we have Ripple Labs. These companies that are operating here in the United States, and we hope to join that group, can operate. We can deal with the regulatory rigmarole that we have here in the United States and build a future not just for the United States, but also for the global security. Because right now, the American dollar is the most important currency in the world. We hope that the next important currency comes out of these United States.
I would agree with you. I'm gonna share the platform so we can talk more about it. And so why don't you explain a little bit more about what we're seeing? And then also for those that are listening and those that are on the YouTube side as well, all of the links that we mentioned during our conversations will be embedded. So if you don't have paper and pen, don't worry, just go back to the text and that way you can explore. So for those that are on the audio side, we're looking at the stablecoins platform. And so why don't you go ahead and explain a little bit more about what this is?
Well, the platform for stablecoin 2.0 is, it's a growth of the stablecoin 1.0 concept. So stablecoin 1.0 is the concept that every coin in existence needs to be backed by something, and they've chosen to back it um, with fiat currency. Whereas whenever you're dealing with the stablecoin 2.0 market, we're looking at a basket of goods. And the reason we chose to do this is because the fiat currency model, you can only have negative stability with that. So the model is going to stay stable, but it's stably going down all the time. Whereas when you're dealing with a basket of goods, you're seeing positive stability as the value of the basket of goods rises in relationship to the fiat currency. And that is the core of what we're building it around, is that if you want to invest, you don't want to invest in something that is going to be constantly declining in value, which is what happens whenever you invest in fiat currency. Whereas when you invest in a basket of goods, which is why people love mutual funds and IRAs, is because that value has a historical record of going forward and being positively stable. And that's where we're building. We're building that positive stability so that people can enjoy their wealth, have access to their wealth, and also be able to work within that system to build new wealth and possibly even generational wealth.
So explain a little bit more, because again, not investment advice, not financial advice, but we're just exploring and educating. How does the SEC look at all this right now, or does it?
Right now, it's kind of chaotic. If you call into the SEC and ask for advice on this, one day you might get a person that gives you advice. One day you might get a person that says, we don't give advice. And the legal structure that they've put out has been, at best, challenging to deal with, because they are telling people that they want this to be the situation, and then they do something different. And we've seen individuals within the SEC that are kind of having a crusade against cryptocurrency, which is really bad for the industry, because the purpose of United States government's agencies is not to decide which industries are best for the people. It's to ensure that the industries that the people have chosen to be best for them are acting fairly within the space. And as we've seen in the recent Ripple case, and as we're seeing in the Binance and Coinbase cases, these companies are doing their best. They're asking the government for advice. They're asking, hey, are we doing what we need to be? And the government's staying silent until they bring these surprise cases out on people. And I think the best example of that is the Coinbase case, because Coinbase asked the government, are we doing the right thing? Yes, you're doing the right thing. Can we do an IPO and release our stock and become a publicly held company? Yes, you can. Then 6 months later, launching a court case against Coinbase, saying, oh, you guys broke the rules. And Coinbase has all this documentation that says, yes, we followed this rule. Yes, we followed this rule. Yes, we followed this rule. And it's like, well, are you not talking to each other within your agency, or does someone have it out for the cryptocurrency market? And we've seen a couple congressmen now that are saying, and this is a bipartisan group of congressmen saying, we can't have a agency in the United States government that is targeting American companies just because they don't like the way the future looks.
I think I agree with your statement that we need to have the agencies be neutral and supportive. Yes, there has to be consumer protection, because sometimes consumers are not the wisest. You know, but on the flip side, we do have to have a responsible blockchain community that also self-regulates and, you know, looks at standards of ethics. And that's one of the reasons why the blockchain maturity model was created. So that way, you know, there can be different standards looked at to make sure that the companies are at a certain level based upon a checklist of elements. I know that you had said that it's not one coin, it's going to be multiple coins that are going to be shared. Again, depending upon when you hear this this conversation, you know, again, the timing might be off, but next week, which is the beginning of August of 2023, you had said that there are multiple coins that are going to be released. So share more about what's going on with that.
Well, one of the things that we look at is, as a stable coin, you want to be able to work on multiple chains.
Mm-hmm.
So we, whenever we actually had the conversation to set this interview up, we were in the process of hiring a CTO to work for our company, and we brought him on. And whenever he started looking at our code, he said that the Solana code, while it is unique because it is an SPL token, the ERC code that we had built the Solana token from, the concept for the Solana token, is unique, but it is not unique across blockchains because that ERC code can be used for any chain that works off of the ERC20 system. So if you're a person that is learning new things about this, one of the things that you need to realize is the way that different chains work is they have what are called smart contracts. And these smart contracts have standard libraries of code that can work on that chain, and some of them have integrated chains. And because Ethereum is the second biggest chain in the world, and Bitcoin does not have native smart contracts on it. There are smart contracts through Rootstock, but Ethereum is the gold standard for smart contracts. And as such, our ERC20 token, or that has been fully audited, it was audited by Quill Audits about 2 weeks ago. So we have a full security pedigree. So I highly recommend, as you're learning about cryptocurrencies, if you're considering a cryptocurrency as legitimate, make sure they're audited. That is so important because that is what says whether your code works and whether your transaction is secure. So if you're a new person getting into cryptocurrency, that's huge. Make sure that you're
We're going to have
dealing
a
with somebody.
whole nother conversation about that because I know you and I can talk about multiple topics, but I really appreciate your giving that as a an item to be a watch out for. So keep going. Thank you on that.
So what we're going to do is the chains that work off of the ERC20 model, Ethereum, Polygon, Avalanche, Matic. There's a couple other ones, Harmony. We are building tokens on all of those chains so that people that want to use Kiros and the Smart Burn system and want to use that fully backed stablecoin 2.0 model can go on different chains, because there are so many wonderful projects out there on different chains. We don't want to just limit people to Solana or limit people to Ethereum. We want to make it as broad as possible. And whenever our exchange comes out, you'll be able to exchange those tokens in the back end to move it from your Ethereum wallet to your Solana wallet via our exchange.
Interesting. Very interesting. So if people wanted to reach out to learn more about what you're doing, how would they do that? And again, for everyone who's listening, it will also be embedded, but what's the best way to learn?
Well, the best way to learn is one, come to our website. We really want you to come to our website. It's www.kiroscoin.com. So that's KIROSCOIN.com.
Mhm.
And there's going to be a contact us button. There's going to be the frequently asked questions so that you can start your research process there. And as I said, with pretty much any research, and since this is an educational show, we're not giving financial advice here. You want to make sure to do your own research because there's so much information out there, and so much of it you just have to background check and make sure it's truthful. So one of the reasons that I tell people to do their own research is because I know if I'm going to tell you something about our coin or tell you something about crypto, you're going to be able to back check it and make sure that what I'm telling you is the truth. And that's what we want to promote in the community is say what you mean what you say. And if somebody has to go and back it up, they can find it with the research. So come to our website first, but then as you begin your crypto journey, explore, find your own things, learn about it. And there's a couple books with my name on them too that you can check out that'll walk you through crypto from the beginning to the end.
So tied with that, again, another great resource that anyone who's listening can go to the GBA website, which is gbaglobal.org. And then the last resource that, I'll also share is the Blockchain Legal Institute, and you can go to www.bli.tools. And I'll just give you a quick tour because a lot of what you're talking about, actually, some of your resources are actually going to be listed under the publication side, and your information will also be listed under the Ethereum side or the blockchain side, because I know you're a prolific writer, and so there's going to be a lot of different articles and information. So the Blockchain Legal Institute, again, will be providing a variety of resources. So that way, it's like you said, you have to have multiple platforms to double check the facts of what it is that you're looking at. And whether it's the association side like GBA or your website or the Blockchain Legal Institute, it's important to have multiple confirmations. So any last minute thoughts before we sign off? Because again, what you're doing is very, you're a thought leader in this area and it's very innovative. So any last minute thoughts that you'd like to share?
Well, one is keep in touch with your representatives about what's going on in the blockchain industry. Glenn Thompson is releasing a new bill trying to bring cryptocurrency protections to the market. I don't believe the text for the bill has been released yet. I've requested from his office a couple times for the sample bill. Keep in touch with them. If you believe this is something that's going to be part of the future, try to get them away from the hey, we're afraid of this to hey, we're going to understand this, because maybe teaching politicians isn't going to work, but teaching their staff so that their staffs understand is a big deal at getting this pushed through and working properly as we move into the next into the digital age.
I
So
agree.
that
I
would be
definitely agree. Yeah,
yeah.
even though I love the idea of reaching out to people, at the very least, vote. So, if you don't participate in the system, then you aren't communicating what your beliefs are. So, at the very least, find out who it is that you're voting for and what they believe, especially within the blockchain world, and, have your vote, support that area. So, as I always mention on all the end of my talk shows, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. We are so integrated and we're all part of one world. So have a great day, everyone, and stay tuned for the next episode. We have a lot of great guests coming on, and thank you so much for being on. I always learn a lot when I chat with you. So have a great day yourself as well.
Well, thank you for having me.